What is up, everyone? It's Ivan, and today I wanted to talk about some of the hidden costs of running a candy, vending, or toy machine business. So first off is maintenance and repairs. So if you're buying new machines, you might not have to worry about that for a year, 2 years. I mean, really depends on the quality of the machine and brand of the machine that you buy. But if you're buying used, if you're buying off of OfferUp, if you're buying off of, just Facebook or any kind of like in-person marketplace, you're gonna run the risk of your machines breaking down, you having to replace parts, and it costing extra money. So you always want to kind of factor that in. You might be getting a cheaper machine that's maybe half the price of the new one, but if you have to put in additional money into that machine, then you want to account for the possibility of having to buy more parts and what the total cost of that machine would actually be to you. Also, you have to think about the time, because it's going to take you time to try to fix things or just outright replace it, and there's going to be downtime when it comes to that, and money you're going to lose out on. So you have to compare the machine that you're getting. You have to test it out, you have to see it in person, you have to kind of just eyeball it and take a guess at how long that's going to last you given its condition, because if you buy a new one, then you're going to save yourself that time, right? Even if you're saving yourself $50 on something, if you spend like 10 hours trying to fix problems or it's reoccurring, is that really worth the $50 savings when you can go with the new one and you can use that time for something else that you can kind of improve the business, dedicate that time to improving the business and getting another machine or learning about the vending business. There's a lot of ways your time is very valuable too, even though there's not an obvious cost associated to your time. That's something that you want to think about when it comes to you dedicating more time into the business that way. So another thing you want to think about is the restocking and the gas, right? So if you get a certain type of machine that requires you to go every single week, then you want to think about the gas and you want to think about the time. If you get a machine that's candy, it's harder to fill up those machines, or it takes longer to fill up those machines because you got to put gloves on and you got to do the ways that you fill up the machine has to be done in a certain way, as opposed to something like maybe toys. You don't need to put gloves on. So those are, restocking, and the type of restocking you're doing, the type of item, and whether it's harder, whether it's going to take longer, whether you have to take extra precautions like gloves and things like that, if it's going to take up more space in your bag or your box, if you're going to have to be carrying in all kinds of boxes of Skittles and M&Ms and peanut M&Ms, and those are a lot, so it takes up a lot of space. Also, what you got to think about are the things that you need to get just to be up and running. I'm talking about licenses and permits, licenses for your machines, going and talking to the city, all that sort of stuff. And in that stuff that you need to just operate is also insurance, which you can get at our friends candymachines.com. They just started their Vendinsurance program, which is pretty good. I think for my 10 claw machines, I think I got quoted for like 10 claw machine. It doesn't matter how many machines you have according to them, which I don't understand. I don't understand how that risk model works or whatever, but to get up to like $1 million worth of liability insurance, and then you can also get property insurance added on top of that. It's like $60 a month to get up to $1 million in liability insurance, and then additional for property insurance, which I think is more than enough. That's all you need, and it's $60 a month, which is pretty, I think it's pretty reasonable price. So I don't mind that. And there's also, like I said, the licenses and permits and everything that you have to do within your city. So just be wary of that. That's another thing that you have to add on there into the business. And then you got to think about the location. If they're going to be charging you rent or they're going to be charging you commission. Some places will charge you rent if there's like a lot of traffic. It's a bigger location. They don't really want to talk to you that much. They just want you to pay a flat fee. They don't want to worry about going the back and forth. How did sales do this month? What's my cut? They just want it to remain the same. So malls, outlets, bigger places like that might charge you rent, but other small mom and pop restaurants, things like that, they're going to charge you commission. So for me and my machines, that's usually 20%. Some people go 20 to 30%, and some people don't even pay commission, and they basically pay the business in different ways. One of the ways that I'm thinking about taking the business, or one of the ways that I'm thinking about generating some extra income in the claw machine business, is I'm thinking about putting advertising screens in inside each one of my machines in each one of my locations, and then offering that business at that location to advertise in all of my locations. So give them like a 10-second clip of their promotions or whatever they want me to put for their business and their advertisements on that iPad or whatever I have inside the machine, and then they can get compensated like that with free advertisement. So, you know, there's a lot of different, it depends on how you want to do your business model in vending, but that's something that's a huge chunk of your revenues are going to be going towards commissions and paying the owner of the location where you have your machine. Another one is theft and vandalism. I haven't had any experiences with theft. Possibly it was theft, but it at the very least was vandalism. But I went to one of my claw machines and there was wood. So like wood, like chipping, it was like wood chips, like little pieces of wood that they just shoved inside of my locks, and they just filled up the lock with wood. So when I didn't even check the lock, right? I just put my key in there and I was like, what the hell? So I pushed the wood even further in the lock. So it was a pain in the ass to have to get all of those little pieces of wood outside of the lock so then I could open the machine. That just added extra time. And I don't know if they were trying to get into the machine, they were trying to pick the lock, or it might have just been some kids messing around, but it was both of the locks. So they took their time, I guess, to fill up both of the locks with wood. But that's definitely something that, you know, you need to think about. If someone, I know a lot of vendors and people that I bought machines for have been selling the machines, and then they have some on the side. They're like, yeah, this one got broken into, the coin mechanism's messed up because they bent it, or the side they drilled a hole, or it's missing a lock because, you know, they either stole the machine or someone was trying to steal the money from them. So there's all kinds of examples and experiences like that in the industry, and that's something that's common. That's something that's just comes with the business and something you need to be aware of. So just think about that. Even though you might not experience it, that is definitely a risk in the business. The other one is inventory management and spoilage. Very real, especially in the claw business. You know, inventory management when it comes to toy machines or candy machines is pretty simple, right? It's not like from one day to the next, that's it. You're done, right? And even if it does sell out pretty quickly, you can get candy or toys from the US relatively quickly. But when it comes to claw machines and how heavy the claw machine business relies on China for all of the different prizes and toys and things that are affordable to the vendors to sell and make a profit on, that takes very long to get here. It takes like a month and a half. So you really need to manage your inventory well, especially if you're in the growing phase like I am, because I have enough inventory for 4 machines, but when the next 4 come in, and now I have to, not only do I have to see how well the next 4 locations are going to do, but I also have to add that, predict that, and then I have to add that in for the total 8 machines, and I have to get it a month in advance before those machines are placed and before I even know what the machines are actually doing. So you always want to have a surplus of inventory, and you just kind of want to play it safe. So you're always going to have more money than you need invested in inventory and in your prizes, because if not, you're going to lose out on sales, and that's just going to look bad on you. The business is going to see, you know, the business owner's going to see the machine looks kind of crappy this week or something, or it doesn't have new prizes. Their prizes are stale. Your sales are going to go down because kids are coming in, they're seeing the same thing all the time. There's nothing that interests them and makes them want to play the machine. So also inventory waste. When it comes to claw machines and toy machines, you won't see a lot of that because that stuff isn't food and it's not going to expire. But when it comes to candy, you're going to have a lot of spoilage. And if you're trying to switch out candy, what are you going to do with the candy that you're switching out? You're just going to throw it away? I mean, if you throw it away, it's just going to be money wasted. It's not like you're going to be able to sell every single to the last peanut M&M in your machine. So you're going to have to throw something away. And so when you do throw it away, you're going to have spoilage. There's no way to avoid it, no matter how good you are and how precise you think you can order the next candy and this one's going to be done. It's never going to be done. You're never going to get it right. So you're always going to have spoilage. Last one only really applies to claw machines. I don't know. I've seen some pretty crazy candy and toy machines that accept credit cards, but for claw machines, it's pretty common, right? Every single claw machine has a credit card reader. Mine don't yet, but I'm definitely going to add them in the near future here. But when you do, it's going to cost you monthly processing fees along with the actual cost of the credit card reader, right? So that's obviously optional to each vendor, and obviously you're not going to start investing in your business like that until it's making a good amount of sales and it's worthwhile for you. but that's definitely something too that's going to cost you money in the future if you want to keep growing in the business. So all of those, just to kind of go over them again, I'll list them again here. I got my list on the side. Maintenance and repairs. All right, you got restocking and gas, licenses, permits, insurance. All right, the rent or commission. You got theft. You got inventory management and spoilage and credit card readers. So that's going to do it for this video. Just wanted to go through some of the things that it can be as simple as you buying a machine and placing it, and that's it. But there's also some other things that you should be aware of. And even if you don't pay attention to this video or take note of it, you're going to learn about it yourself when you get in the business and jump in. So that's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next one.